Hillary email thing unfold, and you're like me, you're thinking, well, you're thinking a few things. You might be thinking is here we go again. Here we go again, meaning more Clinton scandals, fabricated or real. Here we go again with the right wing persecuting and pursuing the Clintons. But the biggest thing I've been thinking is, what's the situation with the Democratic primary? Because the Republicans, for whatever you want to say about them, they've got debates set up. They've got a primary field. They've got people we basically know are going to declare. On the Democratic side, we've got, well, Hillary Clinton, Martin O'Malley, maybe Bernie Sanders. But there's nothing else in place. There's no infrastructure to run a primary. And if I've learned one thing covering politics, is that competition breeds excellence. And I think there's time for a little bit of competition. Joining me now, Robert Reich, former Secretary of Labor in the Clinton administration, who feels the same way. Had a Facebook post the other day in response to this whole brouhaha, basically saying, you want Elizabeth Warren to declare in the race. What's the thinking?
Hi, Chris. Well, I think it would help Hillary Clinton, assuming she runs, because as you just said, what we know from politics, from primaries, from presidential elections, is that when you have a strong primary challenger, it helps the actual general election challenger nominee to be better, to have a sharper message, to be asked questions, to practice questions. It helps the public understand what the central issues are. As of right now, Hillary Clinton is the only target for Republicans. If there were a primary challenger, there would be other targets. For her to be the target for another year and a half or more, I mean, you can imagine what this means. I mean, it's so easy to just target one person. And finally, it seems to me very important for Democrats to be able, during the primary season, to have a debate about what's important to Democrats, what's important to the country in terms of, well, let's say inequality, widening inequality of income and wealth. The Republicans are not going to debate this in any serious way. If the Democrats don't have a primary debate, then the news is going to be focusing on the Republican race, and basically nobody's going to know what's at stake.
This is exact. I completely agree. And the key thing, I think, think back to the last big primary in the Democratic camp. Obviously, 2008, which was an incredible election, and when the long period extended between Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton, those debates were remarkably substantive. I mean, I remember 30-minute long riffs in debates back and forth about whether you should have a mandate or not. I mean, what that primary did was, it was the means by which a political coalition, that is to say the Democratic Party, worked out what its substantive governing agenda was going to be in real time. And I don't know what's going to replace that process if we don't have it here.
No, I look at, Chris, we're reading out of the same book, and I think it's based upon your experience and my experience. We know what happens if it's just a Republican primary. I mean, the debate is over smaller government and lower taxes and all the typical Republican issues. And what happens, basically, the Democratic issues, which I believe are at the center and should be at the center of American politics, again, widening inequality, minimum wage, raising taxes on the rich so you have better, more financing for better schools for the rest of us, stronger unions, you name it. And also Wall Street, by the way.
Yes.
There's not going to be any debate. There's no way the public is going to actually be able to focus on all of those things. So for the sake of Hillary Clinton, for her candidacy and her nomination, assuming that she's going to be the nominee, and by the way, I want to make it very clear, she's an old friend. I think she would be a great president. She'll be a great nominee, but she would do better. And the public would do better, and the American system would be better if there is a strong primary contestant.
She said the DNC says we haven't set our debate schedule. We hope to do so in the coming weeks. And for clues on who might be thinking about running for president, appearances at the International Association of Firefighters Conference, I just want to say the names and made that pilgrimage. They are Jim Webb, Bernie Sanders, Martin O'Malley, former governor of Maryland, Joe Biden, the vice president, and Elizabeth Warren. That's sort of an interesting list of people that decided that it was a good use of their time to go talk to the firefighters union when that's become a kind of stop for people that want to run for president. So who knows? We'll see. Robert Reich, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks very much, Chris.